In 1890, Centralia, Pennsylvania had 2,761 residents, 27 saloons, 7 churches, and a theater. Today it has fewer than 5 people, no zip code, and a hillside that vents carbon monoxide into the open air. The streets where those families lived are mostly gone. The ground beneath them is on fire. And here is the part nobody told you. The people responsible for starting it spent years insisting it started itself. Centralia sits in Columbia County, Pennsylvania, in the heart of the anthracite coal region. The town was founded in 1841, incorporated in 1866, and built almost entirely on coal. The first mines, the Locust Run and Coal Ridge operations, opened in 1856. By the late 1800s, the town was prosperous, violent, and deeply divided. The Maguires, a secretive society of Irish-American miners fighting the brutal conditions of the anthracite region, were active in Centralia during the 1860s. Alexander Ray, the mining engineer who had helped establish the town, was ambushed and killed in his buggy in October 1868. The subsequent investigation, the trials, and the hangings of Molly Maguire, members in 1878, left a scar across the entire coal region. Whether you believe that or not, it is worth noting that St. Ignatius Roman Catholic Church is still there. Most everything else is gone. On May 27, 1962, 5 members of the Centralia Volunteer Fire Company were hired by the Borough Council to burn down the town's landfill in preparation for Memorial Day. The landfill occupied an old strip mine pit 75 feet wide and 50 feet deep, excavated in 1935. There was no non-combustible barrier between the pit's floor and the abandoned mine workings below. The firefighters lit the refuse. They tried to wash down the ashes when it burned hotter than expected. It was too late. The fire had already reached the Buck Mountain coal bed through the open connection at the bottom of the pit. Here is what the Borough Council did not tell anyone. Pennsylvania had passed a law in 1958 specifically prohibiting the burning of landfill waste near coal seams because of exactly this risk. The council had violated that law. Rather than acknowledge this publicly, officials circulated a story about spontaneous combustion during an unusually hot stretch of weather. State and federal agencies accepted this explanation for years. The town burned while the paperwork said it started itself. Between 1962 and 1978, state and federal agencies spent $3.3 million attempting to contain the fire. They dug trenches. The fire went under them. They pumped water into the mine workings. The fire moved around the water. This was not incompetence in the conventional sense. It was geology. The Buck Mountain coal bed runs through fractured anthracite rock that a century of underground mining had turned into a 3-dimensional network of tunnels, voids, and fissures. A coal seam fire does not burn in one place. It moves through that network following the coal and the oxygen, and it finds oxygen because the ground above an anthracite seam is porous. Air seeps in from the surface across hundreds of acres. To starve the fire, you would need to seal every fracture, every old shaft, every fissure across that entire area. It is not a problem that cement solves. There is no single space to fill. The fire burns at depths of up to 300 feet, at temperatures that have been recorded exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The combustion releases carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, and mercury vapor, all venting upward through the soil and into homes. Carbon monoxide is invisible. You cannot smell it. In Centralia, it was seeping into basements while families slept. In 1979, a gas station owner discovered his underground fuel tanks were reading 172 degrees Fahrenheit. Normal temperature was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. He reported it. Officials told him he was mistaken. On February 14, 1981, 12-year-old Todd Domboski was crossing his grandmother's backyard when the ground opened beneath him. The sinkhole was 4 feet wide and dropped 150 feet into a subterranean void filled with carbon monoxide and steam. He grabbed a tree root as he fell. He hung there over the heat until his 14-year-old cousin, Eric Wolfgang, heard him screaming and pulled him out. Domboski survived. The decades-long practice of official minimization did not survive with him. The incident was on national news within hours. In 1983, the Office of Surface Mining completed a full assessment of what it would cost to actually extinguish the fire. The number was $663 million in 1983 values, and it assumed an excavation effort that would need to outrun a fire already moving faster than machinery could dig. Congress looked at that figure and chose a different option. In 1984, $42 million was appropriated, not to fight the fire, but to buy out the residents and relocate them. Most accepted and left. A handful refused. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania initiated eminent domain proceedings in 1992. The legal battles continued for over 2 decades. In October 2013, the final 7 holdouts reached a formal settlement with the state. They received $218,000 for the assessed value of their properties, plus $131,500 to settle related claims. They were permitted to remain in their homes until their deaths, at which point the Commonwealth would take the land. Pennsylvania's Department of Environmental Protection, working through the Federal Abandoned Mine Land Program under the Office of Surface Mining, continues to monitor the site. The word they use is monitor, not contain. The distinction is not accidental. Centralia is not the only underground coal fire burning in Pennsylvania. There are approximately 40 active mine fires across the state. Some, like the Laurel Run fire in the northern anthracite field, received faster and better resourced responses and avoided Centralia's fate. The difference between Centralia and those places was not geology alone. It was the 1958 law that was broken, the cover story that was accepted, and the 16 years that passed before anyone in authority admitted how serious it had become. The Buck Mountain seam contains enough remaining coal to sustain the fire for another 250 years. The zip code 17927 was retired in 2002. The abandoned stretch of Route 61, which had become one of the most visited sites in Pennsylvania after visitors covered it in graffiti over the course of decades, was buried under thousands of tons of fill dirt in April 2020 by the property's owners. The artwork is gone. The road is gone. The town is nearly gone. America did not fail to stop the Centralia fire. America made a calculation twice. The first calculation in 1962 was that nobody needed to know the truth about how it started. The second, in 1984, was that $663 million was too much to spend on 1,100 people. The fire did not care about either decision. It is still down there working through the coal, indifferent to everything that happened above it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more abandonment documentaries from across America.